All right, my friends, it's T again, and I'm back with again another video, man. Blaha again, Jason Blaha, Strength and Bologna Fitness, you know, the gym lifting, recruiting lifting slave. We're going to review this video too. He just posted. Man, we're on a roll tonight. So Jason Blaha says, he says, chin-ups are the perfect complement to the big three. The chin-ups, yes, to the big three. What about the big four? Isn't that the complement? I think he never does OHP anymore. What's going on here? That's the ultimate lift, the OHP, because nobody's doing it.
The chin-up is the perfect complement to the big three. And by the big three, I mean the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. And there are some reasons why I say this, and I am obviously...
The squat, bench, and the deadlift, those are the big three. What about the OHP? That's the biggest.
Not...
Because that's the one he can't do.
The first person out there to come up with this idea. I'm not the first person to say it. I'm not the first person to promote it. There have certainly been other coaches and influencers before me. And again, I've been doing this a while, though. There were ones before me who and so why does this work so well? And when you look at it, there's a lot of reasons why we use the big three. Okay, and I've said this many, many times. It makes sense to use them in your program, almost irrespective of what your goals are, because we have so much research on them, we have so much data on them, and there's so many millions of hours of high-level coaching involved in these three lifts that it makes sense to use them because we know how to correct them, we know how to fix them, we know how to work the muscles differently with variations of them. We have studies on them. And again, these are also lifts that have strength standards by which you can compare yourself to other people to really know where you are in terms of strength and development. And that development is a big part of it, because unless you're gaming the system, size does equal strength. And meaning, you know, if you're cheating, you're using different equipment to help you lift, you're trying to trim the ranges of motion really short with massive arches. When you take all of that away, a 1 rep max or a 5 rep max or a 10 rep max, you know where you stand against other people on these lifts. Okay, they're very, very standardized in regards to that, with strength and conditioning standards, and of course the most popular strength sport is built around these three. So when I say that, I really do mean they work extremely well. They also are all fantastic muscle builders. And I'm not saying they're the be-all, end-all of muscle builders, but they are all amazing muscle builders. You can actually get pretty dang big doing nothing but squat, bench, and deadlift. There are people who proved it.
You can. If glycogen synthesis exceeds breakdown, then yes. Since, again, man, I gotta explain this to people. So you're not damaging muscles here anymore, okay? So you're not adding to you're not adding any of these myofibulars to this growth. So what you're getting is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It moves into a secondary shift called sarcoplasmic, which that is typical. That is partially the growth of these muscle cells and the reticulum, around the muscle fibers. There is something called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It fills up there, okay? So basically, how should I put this? When glycogen synthesis exceeds that breakdown, then that sarcoplasmic builds up in these cells and around the muscle fibers. So yeah, it's not restrained. It's not restrained. It's not controlled by follistatin, myostatin, or satellite cell or anything like that. Get it? So it can grow exponentially, huge, as long as you just eat a lot of starch, and that will convert to glycogen, and then you'll create these phony sarcoplasmic muscles. So yeah, I believe what he says. You could lift to draw glycogen. For every gram of glycogen you eat, you draw 3 grams of water in between the skin and muscle into the muscle. But it has to exceed that breakdown, of course, as well, right? Because you're using up energy. Energy in, energy out. Like they say, calories in, calories out. Well, in this case, it's energy in, energy out. That's what sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is. It's ATP. And adenosine tryptophosphate. It's an energy source. So energy in, energy out, right? Get it? That has nothing to do with myofibular growth. That's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay.
We used to see articles back in the day, and this would upset people a little more in the modern world, but there were writers and books, magazine articles, all this stuff back when I was younger being put out where people were like, yeah, I mean, honestly, you could just do these 3 lifts and build your base and do nothing but these 3 lifts. You know, and I don't agree with that. But this was actually touted. And there were people who actually did.
You could, if you ate glycogen, a shitload of glycogen, you will build these phony muscles. Yeah. That doesn't add to strength. Strength in humans is based on myocytic androgen receptor strength. It isn't based on that. So yeah.
Feel that they would build the biceps, the deadlift and stuff would. I don't necessarily agree with that. Because again, I've struggled with bicep development. You guys have seen me deadlift over 600 pounds. I mean, I've done 500 for an 11 rep set before using a deadlift bar and a belt and everything. So, you know, not necessarily true, but maybe for a ranked novice they would. But let's come back over to what does the chin-up add? The chin-up works the muscles that these 3 miss. Because when you start looking at everything worked, what gets worked? What gets worked and actually will hypertrophy significantly from these lifts? Bench press is obvious. Pecs, triceps. Okay, pecs and triceps. Front delt. Maybe a little bit of side delt. Okay? Right? Hopefully we all agree with that. We all understand this.
I don't know. Do we agree with it? Do we understand it? Does anybody understand him?
Pack the bench press perform the way I'm performing it here. Massive chest builder. You could build a big chest doing nothing but this. All right. Squat is very obvious. Builds your lower body. Pretty much everything but the hamstrings will grow. People debate the hamstrings. The evidence just isn't there.
Did he tell you how it's building it? It's building it through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. That's what all of these jokers online promote. You understand me? That's what they all promote. Yeah.
Quads, glutes, adductors, it will grow all of that. It will grow your erectors to some extent, even your abdominals.
It will. Everything will grow because the cell absorbs energy through glycogen. So the more glycogen you eat, the more it will grow. Get it? Yeah, you'll draw. Listen, for every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water are drawn between the skin and the muscle into the muscle. So add more of these grams. Try to absorb more than 1 gram, and you'll build more of these sarcoplasmic muscles.
Okay. Deadlifts will grow the whole lower body. It will grow the quads, glutes, big hamstring builder, lower back, traps, forearms, all of those will grow. To some extent, lats will grow from it.
Sure it will.
Posterior delts, rhomboids. That has been noted in people who don't even always do back work, that if they get really good at deadlifts, they do tend to have big traps and they still tend to have rear delts. But lats can very much get neglected. They do get worked a little. But it does work. It works your core, everything. Right, deadlift, it works most of this stuff. All right, so a lot of people are saying, well, what's missing? Lats and biceps, really. Big ones. Big ones. But anything that works the posterior delts tends to work the side delts. Okay, and I'm not saying we should necessarily neglect side delts. That's one of the areas I do actually isolate personally because I need it. All right, but stop and think about what the chin up and the way the chin up works. Biceps, lats, it will work rear delts, traps, rhomboids. But what else has it kind of been known to work? We've got evidence that it will work the long head of the tricep, the head that the bench works the least. Not saying you should rely on it exclusively if you want really big arms. But hopefully people see where I'm going with that. Will it contribute to further potential tricep development in the weakest part from the bench? Yes. Okay. Does it potentially grow things like the upper chest a little bit? Yes. Is it a valid ab exercise? Yes. Look at the EMG.
If you build muscle, will you get stronger? If you build myofibrillar growth, will you get stronger? Yes. But if you build mass, will you get stronger from sarcoplasmic? No. You're not. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't make you physically stronger. I didn't say it was going to make you better at lifting a heavy weight. I said it doesn't make you physically stronger, okay?
Data lighting the core up, lighting the whole abdominal wall up on chins. A Also helps train the grip, which carries over to the deadlift.
Look, you can check out my community section. I've posted this in there previously before. So this stuff is in there already, man. Blaha, oh, you can build this, you can build that. You can. You could do push-ups all day, and guess what? You'll get jacked too. How do you get jacked? Glycogen. It's an energy source. It'll build it in sarcoplasm. That's what it does, man. Jesus.
So, but really, when we start looking at it, which muscles get the least work from the big three? Biceps, number one, and then lats. Okay, we can make a point about certain parts of the delt, which they do hit there a little bit. Okay. Well, all the stuff that the chin up really works effectively. Plus, there's splash over to the other stuff like the abs, the upper chest potentially, the long head of the tricep. You know, maybe your intercostals. Right? So when you add it in, what do we have? These 4 exercises, it rounds the big 3 back out. Okay? Because some people will say, well, if you did those, you might not look like you lift purely with bench being the only real upper body exercise and deadlift. Yeah, you still look like you lift, but you will have lacking areas. But if you guys ever notice that anyone who's really, really good at chin-ups tends to have a jacked upper body? I mean really good, you know. The guys who you see who can just crank out 30, 40 chins who aren't super skinny, yeah, they usually they have biceps, they have lats, they have delts. They tend to have all those things. It finishes it out. What I'm saying is that if a person did nothing else but these 4 exercises, their whole body would grow, their whole body would be big.
Now, you could use the exercises to try to draw this glycogen into the muscle by fatiguing. If you fatigue the muscle by lifting a weight, remember, it's not sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is not based on eccentric exercise, nor is it based on concentric. It's based on fatiguing a muscle and drawing glycogen into the muscle. The more you can fatigue it, the more there's an open window for what? Glycogen synthesis, dude. Yeah.
Their whole body would.
Sorry, I got cut off there. Yeah, man. That's what it does, man. For every gram of you're drawing glycogen into the muscle. Anyways, let's go with all
growth. Their whole body would be bigger. Their whole body would be stronger. I'm not saying they would have a perfect physique, but they would have one heck of a foundation. And anyone who got really good, and I mean good meaning good at your workloads, not just your maxes, can you move some solid weight for 10 clean reps? Okay, that's what I mean. You get pretty good at all 4 of these, you're going to look like you lift. Okay, you're going to look like you lift. There's no doubt about that, and you're going to be.
Yeah, because. Man, you've read this before. Remember 6 weeks of these people myofibular training, 6 weeks, whatever, trained people, get what? Attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So this, if it's intense enough and whatever, you're going to draw more of this. You're going to get glycogen muscles, man.
Pretty big. And you're not going to have massive, enormous.
But if you're not eating enough glycogen and you are lifting those, like Blaha, who's not getting big, lifting these big 4 or big 3, whatever the hell he's talking about, because not seem to be working for him. He's not massively big or anything, and so it's not working for him. And so, yeah, it'll just inflame your muscles. You'll get inflammation and come back and keep inflaming them again and again, because the glycogen is not exceeding the breakdown, and nor is protein synthesis exceeding breakdown. You need to be in an anabolic growth state for muscles to grow, because both are breaking down constantly when you come into the gym. There's a window for there's an open window for protein synthesis, but there's also a window for protein breakdown. And now it's breaking down like crazy. And if you don't pass that, if it doesn't exceed breakdown, then you're wasting your time. Okay?
Weaknesses. Like, you're probably not going to have any part of your body that doesn't look like you work it. Again, 4 exercises. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
It wasn't that informative, man. It was a lot of bullshit there, bro. But you get the gist of it. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.